Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. I am back with another video to try and help you get a little bit faster at Bathurst in Group 4 for this week's daily race C. Now you are driving the time trial on racing medium tyres, and in the race you will be using racing hard tyres. So factor that into braking distances and stuff like that. You will be braking ever so slightly shorter and just being a bit more careful on the throttle. Now I've been using the Ferrari for the race, and I decided to do the time trial guide with the Ferrari because I cannot stand the Silvia. For some reason, at this track, I really don't like the way it drives. So I did a few laps of it and just said, no, I can't use that car. Got in the Ferrari and just tried to set a reasonable lap time. Now, this Ferrari does have potential to get into the 209. So let's get on with this guide. If it does help you out, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section how it helped you. So going into turn 1, we are going to look for the 100 board on the right side. Now we're going to brake past the 100 board, and in between that and the 50, a little bit closer to the 100 probably. But you can see almost using it as a reference of the middle of the brake, the two markers. Onto the brakes. Now we're going to go down to second gear, but as we go into this corner, you can see you want to get it rotated in. So you're going to trail brake into corner, down second gear, but then we're going to go back up to third gear as we get on the throttle to try and rotate this car and create a smooth exit all the way up this hill. It's really important to get a good exit from that corner to give you more momentum all the way up to the top of the hill. So powering our way up this section. Now the Ferrari is not the strongest at this part of the track. The Silvia is a little bit quicker because of the way the gearing is. But we're going to come into the next braking zone. Now I use a little bit of grey tarmac on the left hand side. You can see it there. I'm braking at the end of that with mediums. Now with the hard tyres and slipstream, you're going to be braking early in that, making sure you're braking before that 50 board. And now we're going to get it rotated into this fast right hand corner. Now this is very important to get it very close to the curb. So down to third gear, trail brake into the corner, then be quite aggressive on the throttle to try and get that rear rotating as you power your way through this corner. You can use some of the curb and a little bit of tarmac on the left on the exit there, just try not to hit the barrier. Now we're going to be approaching this next left hand corner. I use the apex of the corner there as kind of a reference for my braking. So as I get through there, I'm going to get on the brakes and just try and use some of the width for the track. So you can see onto the brakes now as we're approaching that apex, pretty much on the apex. And we're going to go to the full width for the track if possible. Clip the white line with your right hand tyre. And now we're going to go down second gear and try and get this car rotated in and on the power as early as possible. Watch the power. Look how aggressive we're being. We're trying to get that power down. Just be careful. You don't create too much wheel spin. You want to get a smooth exit up this hill. And again, this again is where the Ferrari is a little bit weaker than the Silvia. However, Ferrari does have some strengths. So working our way to this next right hand corner, this is completely flat out. You are not going to lift on the qualifying lap on medium tyres, and even in the race you can do it flat on the hard tyres. So just try and get your right hand tyre as close to the barrier on the right hand side as possible. Use a bit of curb on the exit there if you need to. And now into this tricky left hand corner. This is a very tricky one. It's almost flat in fifth gear. You're just going to give it a little lift as you go into the entry of the corner. So you can see we want to get this car rotating in. Use the curb on the left and just lift off before you're approaching this corner. Don't brake, just lift off the throttle. Let the car rotate with lifting, then back onto the throttle. We hit the wall ever so slightly there, lose a little bit of momentum, but not too bad. Maybe half attempt to a tenth gone there. Now the start of the curb I use as a reference for my, where again, I'm going to lift off the throttle. We're not actually going to brake. We're just going to lift off the throttle, get that car rotated, and try and get back on the throttle to carry speed through this left-hand corner. Again, very tricky corner this. Got to get that left-hand tyre almost onto the curb, and then get the power down as early as possible to carry the speed into this downhill section. Now the Ferrari is pretty strong on the downhill section. You can see rotating in here. We're going to start putting that braking in way before the Audi R8 board above our head there. So onto the brakes quite early. And then again, get as close to the wall on the right. Again, left-hand tyre onto the curb. And now for this part, we're going to go down to second gear and just try and keep it narrow to this apex. And then as you're approaching, you can now see the little dip into the corner. We're going to get on the brakes and we're going to use some of this corner. You can see right-hand tyre, as long as it stays over the right-hand side of the white line, you shouldn't get a penalty. If it does go over that, you're likely going to get a penalty. Early upshift to third gear, just to smooth out that exit as we work our way on this downhill section. And then into this tricky right-hand corner again. Braking really early. Now, what you'll notice is we're doing a lot of braking and accelerating at the same. We did it on the downhill section before as well. Look at the braking and accelerating going in at the same time. That's because we want to create a steady car on the downhill section. So again, on this previous section going downhill, try and use both a little bit of throttle and brake just to steady the car a bit. And then second gear, powering your way out this exit. Just be careful you don't hit the Falcon board on the right hand side. Can be easily done. And then this is completely flat out, just revving the car out. This is where the Ferrari is very, very strong, and actually stronger than the Silvia, because on downhill sections, Ferrari has more pace. Uphill sections, it just doesn't quite managed to get the pace up. So it's all about the torque on the car really and how it delivers it. So this car seems better on the downhill parts of the track as we work our way into the next braking zone. We're going to use that 150 board, but we're going to brake past the 150 boards because we're on the medium tyres. Keep an eye on this now. As we go past it, we are on the brakes just a little bit past that there. Don't brake too late, you'll easily run off into the gravel. So just a bit past the 150 board, downshifting through the gears, down to third gear, and again, rotating this car, get your left hand tyre almost up onto the curb if you can. So down to second gear and then back up to third gear as we get on the throttle. Try and get the momentum out of this corner. It's very important to carry speed and carry momentum with this car out of this exit and keep it going into the final corner. So now again, we're going to brake in between the 100 and the 50 board. So keep your eye on that 100 board there. We're actually going to brake a little bit past it because we're on the medium tyres. So a little bit past it. Remember, in the race you will brake slightly earlier than that though because you're on the hard tyres, and obviously if you've got slipstream you have to factor that in. So working our way into this final corner, downshift to second gear, again rotating it in, and you really want to get this car concentrating on exit speed. So as we come through here, trail brake, off the brake, onto the throttle nice and early, let that power rotate the car, use a bit of the curb and then power your way over the finish line. I do a 2-minute 10.5 here. Like I say, not an amazing lap, just a pretty solid lap there to give you a guide. I'm sure this Ferrari can do a 209, so with a bit more pushing, I'm pretty confident the Ferrari can get into them 209s. But yeah, let's have a watch of that lap again from the chase camera. You can see about using that full track width on the exit there. That corner is particularly important to your lap time because if you get a good exit there, it gains you a 10th at least by the top of this hill. So it might not sound like a lot, but a 10th just by doing one corner a little bit better on exit is really important. So working our way, again, you see, using that bit of grey tarmac on the left here, use that as a reference, and again look at the curb on the right, trying to get that right hand tyre nice and close to the curb and using it to rotate the car through that right hand corner. And again, as we come through to the top of the hill here, you can see, use that apex as a reference to the braking, and again onto that throttle, you can see the rear wanting to step out there. That's why you've got to be a little bit cautious how you put that power down all the way up this hill. So just, yeah, the better you get it down there, the smoother you get. The benefits are massive all the way up this hill. You're still gaining from this point onwards, so very important corner to get right. Again, left hand tyre up there, just be careful you don't hit the wall like I did there. You can see the miles per hour drop down a bit, so a little bit of time lost on that corner where if I would have just done it a little bit better, would have been a bit faster. So again, on this downhill section, just try and keep that car steady. You can see the throttle and the brakes going in together. That's to steady the car all the way down that on that downhill section. Again, you can slightly see it as we approach this downhill section there with the braking and the throttle going in together there. That's, like I say, it's to try and create stability in the car. It helps steady that car when the car starts to get a little bit rotating that you don't want. So just be careful of that with the over rotation on the downhill parts. Obviously this is an MR car, so it will over rotate every now and then if you get that rotation going in the body movement going in the wrong direction. So again, working our way down in this downhill section, using that 150, braking slightly past it, you see it again here, and look at the left hand tyre. You want to get it almost skimming the curb on the left hand side there. That was pretty much spot on. Right hand tyre onto the curb. Try and get it into third gear coming out of that corner with a bit of revs. The more revs you get with a Ferrari, the better the exit. And again, in between that 150 board, and again, look at the way we try and get on that throttle nice and early and use the revs to power this car out of exits of corners. If you can get used to driving this Ferrari, it's a really rewarding car, and I have to say it's a lot more fun than the Silvia. I'm not a fan of the Silvia. It's just really boring to drive. So hopefully this guide has helped you out. Hopefully it helps you improve your lap time. Hopefully it helps you in the race pace as well, because I think the Ferrari might be a little bit better for race pace. Well, it was yesterday in my view. The Ferrari and the Supra seem to be the better cars when it came to race pace. But yeah, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you for more videos and live stream. Thanks again for watching, everyone.